He saw the best in me. When everyone else around could only see the worst in me. Wish I had a witness in this place today. Said he saw the best in me. When everyone else around could only see the worst in me. Oh, you wish I had a witness. A lot of folks, I believe in God for Boaz, but I want you to understand that don't believe God for Boaz unless you're ready to cook and clean. You only gonna talk to me because I don't care how wonderful you think you are in the bedroom. If bruh man done worked 60 hours, when he comes to the house, he don't want to see you standing in the kitchen with no negligee on unless you're gonna put on an apron and cook up some bacon and eggs. I can't get no help up in here. I'm by myself. I wish I had a Presbyterian church. Not only that, but Boaz, as you begin to look through the field, make sure that you have one thing in order before you look for your sister girl. See, the problem that I have is that we want a female to be in our lives consistently, but we have not gotten consistent in the workplace. And what we have to learn how to do is you have to learn how to keep a job before you can keep a woman. I can't get no help. So the problem is, beloved brothers and sisters, is process. God takes us through process. I wish I had some help. He takes us through process in order to make sure that we're mature enough to handle and we're going to be good stewards over what he's going to bless us with. But not only that, but he also takes us through the process because he wants us to understand that he does not reward bad behavior. The first thing that God wants to take us through in the process is he wants to take us through a process called transformation. I began to talk to God and I said, God, why in the world do you have to take us through a process called transformation? He said, the reason why I have to take you through transformation because I got to deal with your concepts. I got to deal with your ideologies. I got to deal with your thought process. I got to deal with how you think through things. I got to deal with your mentality. Why? Because I cannot allow you to take an old mindset into a new place of blessing. I got to deal with some stuff first because of the simple fact that I cannot put new wine into old wineskins. I got to deal with some things. So I got to deal with, number one, your stinking thinking. Because there's a whole lot of us that just got straight up stinking thinking. And the reason why our lives are in disarray is because we have not learned how to do one simple thing, and that thing is change. Okay, y'all gonna look at me strange because the problem with a whole lot of y'all is the reason why you don't have what you desire. It ain't because God don't want to give it to you. It's because he don't want to give it to you the way you are right now. But when you get to a place where you need to understand that I need to make some changes in my life, when I need to move from where I am to doing something different, I got to change the way I think about stuff. I got to look at stuff a little bit differently. Can I tell you the reason why your life is in disarray is because you don't want to change? You've been like this all your life. I don't see why I got to change. I've been like this all my life. My mama was like this and my grandmama was like this. The reason why you need to change because it ain't working for you. And when you get to a place where you understand that stuff ain't working for you, you got to make a decision to shift. The Lord had said unto Abram, watch what he says, get thee out of thy country. I got to stop right there. Because when he says get thee out of thy country, that's not the process of transformation, but what it is the process of relocation. I began to ask God the question. I said, God, why in the world do you have to take Abram through the process of relocation? He said something that blew my mind. Can I tell you what he told me? He said, Marvin, you need to understand that I am going to bless Abram. I said, I understand that, God. He said, but I want you to understand understand that I cannot bless him where he is right now. I said, why can't you bless him where he is right now? He said, because the environment that he is living in is not conducive to the working of miracles. I said, why isn't it conducive to the working of miracles? He said, because the environment that he is living in has become his comfort zone, and I don't bless where you're comfortable. Y'all gonna help me preach in a few minutes. And the reason why some of y'all don't have what you desire from God, because you want him to come into your comfortable surroundings, into your comfortable place, and you want him to bless you right where you are. But the reason why he won't bless you in your comfortable surroundings and in your comfortable place, because he doesn't want you to ascribe what he's doing in your life to an individual or your environment. So he puts you in a place where you're uncomfortable, where you can't go to your right, you can't go to your left, you can't go backward, you can't go forward. Only thing you do is do like the old mothers used to say, drop down on your knees and say, Father, I stretch my hand to thee, no other help. Notice what the writer declares. He says, now the Lord had said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country. And then he says, and from thy kindred. Pastor Chris, I got to stop again. Because when he says, and from thy kindred, that's not the process of transformation, nor is it the process of relocation. But what it is the process of isolation. It's not that he isolated him, but it was who he isolated him from. Watch this. He isolated him from people that he used to hang with. Y'all ain't gonna talk to me. Y'all looking at me strange. He isolated him from people that he used to run with. Y'all ain't saying nothing still. He isolated him from people that he used to kick it with. Y'all still looking at me strange. Let me drop the bomb. He isolated him, watch this, from people that he used to worship with. That's the challenge right there, because it's in isolation, Gerald, that not only will God pull you away from Negroes in the world, but it's in isolation where God will also pull you away from some Negroes in the church too. Y'all ain't gonna talk to me in this Presbyterian church. It's in isolation where God will pull you away from some Negroes in the church. And the reason why he does it is he does it for one simple purpose. He says, the reason why I got to pull some of y'all away, because you have become codependent upon people that don't have the power to deliver you. Okay, y'all gonna look at me strange. The reason why some of y'all won't shout is because your row won't shout. The reason why some of y'all don't come to church like you ought to is because you make a phone call to see if your girl or your boy gonna be there, and you want to make sure they save you a seat. But God's trying to get you to a place where your concern is not with your clique nor your crew, but he's trying to get you to a place where you understand that if everybody and their mama walks out on him, he wants you to understand that your relationship needs to be cemented for yourself. I wonder, is there anybody in here other than me that's getting delivered from some people right now? But let's go back to the text. Now the Lord it says unto Abram, get thee out of thy country. That's relocation. And from thy kindred, that's isolation. But then he says, and from thy father's house. I got to stop again. Because when he says, and from thy father's house, that's not the process of transformation, nor is it the process of relocation, nor is it the process of isolation. But what it is the process of separation. Let me tell you what he told me. He said, the reason why I have to take Abram through the process of separation, he said, because, watch this, I have to disconnect him from his father's house in order to cancel generational curses that could follow after him into the place of promise. I can't get no help. I lost y'all. I lost you. He said, I have to disconnect him from his father's house in order to cancel generational curses that could follow after him into the place of promise. Pastor Chris, in order for you to understand that principle, you must know something, Pastor, about the lineage of Abram. Because if you know anything about the lineage of Abram, you know that his father's name was Terah. You know that his grandfather's name was Nahor. You know that his great-grandfather grandfather's name was Sharug. And Sharug, by definition, means provocation. And when you begin to do an in-depth research about Sharug, Pastor Chris, you will understand that Sharug was one of the initiators of idolatry during that period. Recognize, beloved brothers and sisters, that the reason why Abram was rich because of what Sharug did to provide for his children's children. If you know anything about the life of Sharug, Sharug made a living out of selling idols. And he sold idols to all of the people. And that is why Abram was rich, because of what his great-grandfather did. What are you trying to tell me, Dr. Sapp? I'm trying to tell you that he's not trying to disconnect you from your father's house as much as he's trying to disconnect you from some stuff that's in your past. What are you trying to tell me, preacher? Let me make it perfectly clear. I want you to understand, beloved, that you cannot live in your history and go after your destiny.